In January, the small firms outperform the market. You could go into that and anybody would follow a pattern and say that in January you're going to invest in the smaller firms. Now, fundamental and technical anomalies could go for your momentum and overreaction. Now, these are the ones that are a big contributor to behavioral finance, as these are all rational. A rational investor cannot explain all of these anomalies, and this dives into the school of thought of behavioral finance. Now, behavioral finance takes into account now your cognitive biases, and it takes into account as well psychological biases and people's emotions now as well into the finance perspective. So, one of the biggest theories, well, the first one in behavioral finance is your prospect theory. This was brought about by two psychologists, Kahneman and Tversky. What they basically say, they don't use marker as utility. They're basically saying that you're looking at it now from a perspective of gains and losses. So they put more weightings into your losses compared to your gains. Now, for example, if I can ask Ryan, in option 1 or option 2, would you choose a sure gain of 5,000 Rand or a 75% chance of 6,800 Rand and or a 25% chance of zero gain?
I would take the higher one.
Which is the higher one?
Which is the higher one?
Sure gain of 5,000 or 75% chance of 6,800.
I would take the option
one.
Option 1.
Okay, and example 2, would you take option 1 of sure loss of 3,000 or a 75% chance loss of 4,500 and you have a chance of 25% zero loss?
I'll take option 2.
Okay, now what Ryan has done is exactly what sometimes where people are irrational into a point where they become risk-seeking when it comes to losses. So even though that they could lose more with a 75% chance of 4,500, they could end up losing about 3,200, 3,300 Rand. You would have rather chosen that than to a sure loss of 3,000. This just shows that people will rather settle, become risk averse and settle for 5,000, and then actually they become risk seeking and they actually want to lose. They'll take the opportunity to lose less because losses hurt more, and can go on.
So basically the first example is loss aversion.
Yes.
Because investors do not like to lose. So as a result, the people will take the sure gain of 5,000 without looking at the expected value. Because the expected gain in the second option, just a 75% of 6,800 is already bigger than the 5,000. But then in the second case, actually, so we say that investors don't like losses, but then in the second case, you actually find out sometimes investors are actually risk-seeking.
Yes.
So it's contradicting itself. Yeah. But in either cases, it contradicts your expected utility.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's basically what that shows over here, that its utility as over here, a 50 Rand of, so for example, if you guys came to the presentation and you guys lost the 50 Rand, you guys would feel it more as losses is more than gains. If you picked up a 50 Rand, you would not have appreciated as much comparing to losing a 50 Rand. This is what this explains. This top part is the same as concave until we get to the reference point over here where losses now are more meaningful than actually gaining. So that's your prospect theory. So there's some more heuristics involved which I'll be including, would be your overconfidence, when people overestimate their reliability of their knowledge. So they will think that even though everybody else is getting information that this certain stock price might drop or something like that, they believe in their own information that they're better than everyone else and they have superior knowledge. So that is what that will give. And then your regret aversion, anticipation of future regret. So they may, because something happened to them in the past, they may not want it to happen again, so they will follow a trend or they'll follow something because of something happening in the past, and they may not want future regret. So because maybe something happened to them where they missed out on an opportunity, they will follow that opportunity at all times because they're scared that they could have regret in the future. And then we have the disposition effect where investors sell winners too soon and they hold the losers too long. Now this is also can be to the loss aversion as well, because investors become risk-seeking and hold on to losers too soon. Now this is like maybe catching a falling knife, for example, because sometimes that stock price doesn't come up again. It continues going down. Like for example, I can give African Bank. Like maybe people would have thought that I'll invest in them because maybe they're bound to come up. So they'll hold on to that losing stock. So they'll keep on and keep on and keep on until the stock's value became nothing. So they became risk-seeking because they're holding on to something that is losing. But even though the winner could carry on increasing, they take their gains as is. So there they also become risk-averse in terms of selling winners. So they rather want the return now instead of waiting for the future. And then we have the gambler's fallacy as well, when an individual believes that something's going to happen. So he'll flick a coin 5 times and he'll say the 6th time, tails, it has to come right. It's the same thing with a stock. Because the stock's going up, you say you're going to sell it because it has to come down, and vice versa with buying a stock. Now this goes now deep now to where my topic is going to with herding. Now there's a lot of like fashions and fads, and it says people are influenced by each other, so there's a social pressure to conform. So herding behavior, safety in numbers, as it says over here. Now the safety in numbers thing is, if I'm a money manager and I get evaluated on my performance, so if all of us over here, if I follow all of you guys over here in this room and invest in the same stock as you, all of you over here, and we all fail together, everybody will be valued the same and I won't look as bad. But if I decide to go against you guys and invest in my own stock, you guys invest in something else, you guys all receive gains, I'm the one that loses. So eventually I get evaluated and I'm the one that my job comes under scrutiny because of this. So people sometimes feel that it's safer to follow the crowd than it would be to follow their own initiative. And that's also what informational cascades also is. People tend to go contradict their own information just to feel safe or to be part of a crowd. Like I said before, you may prefer KFC, but for some reason you see McDonald's is full, you go to McDonald's because you go against your own information just to follow what they say. So now there's the different types of herding. As I stated before, is your rational. So this is where somebody has superior information and the person who does not have the superior information tends to follow the crowd, or they tend to follow that one person, and this distorts the stock price because of this. Now, for example, I can give a basic example, maybe also put the rational way of herding is, for those of you who know Ashad, he was 100% 98 to 95% student in all of his subjects. So you maybe get about 10 students that didn't study, maybe in the classes or something like that. 10 students sit behind Ashad, so they know nothing at all. So they decide to copy Ashad. So they rationally go against their own information because they know nothing, and they follow somebody where they know they could receive gain. So rationally, what happens now is they copy someone who knows, and they receive a gain now from this. But it's the same thing that happens with stock price. So everybody follows this person, and it could push up the stock price, just like it could distort the results in our class. Now the lecturer thinks that everybody knows their work, but in fact they followed one person who knew what he was doing, and they don't know what they were doing. Now, irrational type of herding is now the complete opposite, where people now decide against their own information and copy the next person's information. So everybody could know their work, but they follow the one person who didn't know their work perhaps, and they all follow him thinking that it's going to be safe. So they go against what they know is right just to follow somebody. Now you have spurious herding and intentional herding. So your intentional is where you blatantly copy somebody as well, almost like between the rational and irrational. You blatantly copy somebody because you know they know better. So that's the type of herding that you can also look at. And the spurious...
Sorry, Aiden, what is mean by because you know that they know better? Is it because like similar to Ashard's example?
Yeah, similar to that. So intentional is like blatantly following the crowd, compared to this spurious herding over here is where like you and I may have the same idea of accounting fundamentals that we both like, but we don't even speak to each other or don't even look at you. So people can hurt without even knowing about it by just looking at certain aspects of a company, or they might follow the same philosophy. So they hurt without even knowing. So it's a coincidence, but it's still a type of hurting as well. And then the long market memory effect is as a decaying effect. So it's a past event that will have a future outcome. So this is our hurting example. Hurting example is that hurting could push up a price or put the price in a certain direction. And this could cause then people to continue to do so, pushing it up or down, whatever way the price was going. And then what happens is that this creates patterns and also non-repetitive patterns, so which people can also, or investors can take advantage of. So yeah, that's where I'd like to conclude that markets are efficient to a certain extent because certain things cannot be explained, and this is where the irrational part can come in. I mean, the stock market bubbles, the market crashes and all that. If all of these things cannot be explained, then is markets rational at all times, or is there a part of irrationality that comes to play that could explain certain aspects of the market?
Yeah, it was a very nice presentation, very, very nice. What I like about it is when it comes to theory, master classes are different from your honors research. Like in terms of honors, we may all have very similar theoretical overview and even literature review and so on, because everything in finance links. But then when you do a master research, you focus on solving a particular problem. So the focus and how to structure your theory is very, very important. And then what I found in presentation, if you just follow the sequence like that, I found it very, very focused. Very, very focused, did not deviate. For example, you could actually do it on Markovich's portfolio theory forever while you're not dealing with portfolios. And it's related, but you could be spending too much time on it. Okay, and I didn't find that today. What I want to point out that if you can go back to the example that was speaking about in Loser version, the two options there. I just found that in terms of, one of the graduate issues is to be an effective communicator. So the whole presentation was very effectively communicated, except this part that I felt that we get two options. And then in your mind, because you study the material, so you know that you're supposed to work out the expected gain or expected losses. So you could have, to ensure that the audience know exactly what you are talking about, why option 2 versus option 1 is, that means your loss aversion, or for example, the second example, why is the risk seeking? You could have used the 75% multiplied by expected utility means that you work out probabilities and allocate it into the options. So you could have used, for example, 75% multiplied by 60,800 plus 25% multiplied by 0 and tell us exactly what the value that is. Okay. So immediately when we see it, we know it's going to be less than 5,000, for example, in first round. So in that way, that you ensure the audience 100% understand every step of your presentation. Yeah, and then just a little bit questions in terms of, you explain the rationale why, and in terms of behavioral finance as well, you focus a lot. There are a lot of different behavioral finance psychological biases, but then you really focus on the type of biases in herding that is focused, and it's very nice. Then I just want to ask that in terms of you provide some rationales for herding, and then one of them is safe in numbers. Okay, and then if you look at the safe in numbers, that's why we all herd together. Then you bring into various different type of herding, basically different rationales why people follow herdings. I just want to see that because I haven't really researched in this area. Then I want to know that if there are empirical evidence or empirical research that actually focus on the different type of herdings.
Yes, like I've been thinking of different methodologies. Yes. They find it kind of difficult, but they do look at certain aspects of where the herding is intentional, and it can be seen as intentional, and also as where people follow maybe the fundamentals of a company.
So you can actually distinguish.
Yes, some people are trying to distinguish the two types of herding.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, because herding is a concept I can't say that everybody flock together.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like you said, I mean, for me, I would be most interested in knowing that it was spurious, or for example, if it's intentional. And then perhaps when you taste, I mean, if you could give examples of different types of, like real life examples, not hypothetical, the real life examples of rational herding, intentional herding, irrational herding, for example, spurious herding, then it will really, really add value. One of the things I can say that if I just look at your discussion, you have intentional herding, means that people know that Ashar is good. But the thing is that there was a wide discussion about Buffettology in terms of why Warren Buffett succeed in the way that he succeed. Because, for example, you buy into McDonald's, not because the fundamentals of the company really are good. It's because all the investors, they have this herding bias, like intentional herding. They know Warren Buffett is the guru. As a result, everybody of buy into the same company or invest in the same company that he picked up. Yeah. So there's a lot of discussion on that he could actually find the resource to basically I mean, in the research process, everything about debate. So that can actually be the evidence, or for example, you can provide for the different types of herding using real life examples. Because we know that we have one shot, but the thing is that, I mean, is that supposed to happen in future, or for example, does it apply in other places? We don't know. But Warren Buffett is in a finance world, then you can use real life examples, then people will know. Then it will, I mean, so this one is very obvious, and there are a lot of discussions on it. But then for different other types of herdings, I don't really can recall any other examples. Maybe when you talk about housing bubbles or the IT bubbles or of different kind of bubbles, I mean, can be related to, what do you think? Can be related to which type of herding?
I think it could maybe the IT stuff could have been irrational because people just followed without even knowing much about
the company.
They were just going after because everybody else was doing it. So at the time, people were receiving returns and it was something new, so they just copied without giving a. They never checked the business models of the company at the time. So the business models weren't as good as it is now when they started investing, and that's what happened with the crash.
And for example, if we look at the subprime crisis, basically, when the interest rate is low, so not because everybody would think that the properties are good, it's because it's just altogether, we may have different rationale or intentions or reasons to buy into the property market. But the thing, the common thing is that the interest rate is low, so we all want to go into there. And then thereafter something happened, the interest rate picked up, and eventually the housing bubble basically burst. That could be kind of like, how do you call it? Like spurious.
Yes.
We all have different intentions, but the thing is that we are doing the same thing.
Yes.
Like if you can provide the real life example you plug in there, it will make your argument become very, very strong. Yeah, and then taste the examples. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I speak about maybe a little bit, but overall, that's a very good presentation. I really enjoyed it.
Great, thank you.
Okay, is there any other question you want to ask? Okay, good.